Hi there, how do you translate this sentence? This very long sentence. Het is, ik moet het dan nu misschien toch maar gewoon nog wel eens even doen, hoor. Whoa, lots of words. Must be very complicated to translate it into English, right? Well, it actually means I have to do it. That means I have to do it. That really, really long sentence. Well, yes, I have to do it. So, what are all these words you're using? Because, you can just say, ik moet het doen. And you see in the sentence, ik moet het doen at the beginning, at the end. Well, yeah, you could also say, ik moet het doen. Okay, and why do you put all these words there? Well, these words are decorative and they give some sort of flavor to the sentence. Flavor to the sentence. As if Dutch wasn't complicated enough. Just adding words to add some flavor. Oh, well, that's just what you needed. Well, yes, these words add flavors and they are called modal particles. And to make it even more complicated, you might recognize some of these modal particles, like maar, that means but, right? Yeah, that's true. But as a modal particle, it will not have the meaning, or it won't be as strong as this but. And all these words have some sort of meaning, but as a modal particle, it's like watered down and it has some other, meaning. It becomes a little more decorative. And we're going to take a look at the words one by one. But you may ask, well, is this sentence used in Dutch? I exaggerated a little. This is not a sentence that you would say just like that. No. But some people do use like 3, 4, 5, or 6 of these words in just one sentence. So it's very important to know that they exist and to understand what their flavor is and whether it's like the real word, like maar, but, or whether it's the watered down version. And how do you know that? Well, unfortunately, you will need to look at the context to know if it's like a modal particle or not. Is it considered bad Dutch to use these words? No, because they have a meaning. They have, they give taste. They have a function in the sentence. So let's take a look at all these words. Some of them have a video on this channel. So I will tell you if these words have a video on this channel so you can learn more about the different uses of these words. And we're going to start with dan. The example sentence here with dan is, we gaan dan naar het ziekenhuis. We're going to the hospital then. You could also translate it as, then we're going to the hospital. Like, at that point in time, we're going to the hospital. But you can also translate it a bit as just like then, just like in English. It doesn't have much of a meaning. It's just added there without much, without much importance to the sentence. And there's a video for that that you can find in the description below. Next one is nu and nou. Nou is used in the Netherlands and is barely used in Belgium. So if you hear someone using the word nou, then you know this person comes from the Netherlands. Nu, however, is used in the Netherlands too. But what does nu mean? Let's take an example. Heb je dat nu gedaan? Here, heb je dat nu gedaan? It can be translated 2 ways. As the normal nu, like now. Have you done it now? Like, have you done it like at this moment, now? Or it can mean, have you done it? Something like that. So nu can mean well, or well in English, or now. All right. And in some cases, in the case of this question, it can show that the person is becoming a little bit impatient. For example, if I would say it with the intonation, heb je dat nu gedaan? Then you would know, oh, it shows I'm using this nu. The person that says it is using this nu to show that he or she is becoming impatient. So this is how you can use nu as well. All right. Also in English, when you're starting a sentence with now, let's talk about that. Then now is also, well, it doesn't mean much. It's just a way to start your sentence. It doesn't mean like now, at this moment, right now. Good. The next one is misschien. And misschien, in this example, kan je dat misschien sturen? You would think, can you send it maybe? But, well, why would you say maybe there? Well, here I would rather translate it as, can you please send it? And misschien is a word you can use to soften your questions, to make them sound a little nicer. So, misschien actually means please. But do not use it as please, as here you go, or something like that, or please use them in the middle of a sentence. So that's the flavor of misschien when you're using it as a modal particle. But again, it can be used as maybe too, depending on the context. All right, the next one is soms, and it was not in the long sentence. However, you can use it as a modal particle too. And let's read the example here. Is dat soms niet goed? You could think, is that sometimes not good? But that doesn't sound right, because soms means sometimes, right? But here it is as a modal particle. And when do we use soms? When we're asking questions and we're expecting to get an answer that's either yes or no, or positive or negative. So it actually means, is that not good? Or isn't it good? Or something like that. All right, so the soms here is, well, purely decorative, and it doesn't mean much because it is used as a modal particle. All right, the next is toch. Dat is toch klaar? That's ready, right? And this right is somehow this toch. You're asking for confirmation. Dat is toch klaar? If it were a question. But it can also, if you're affirming, dat is toch klaar. It is different than you expected. You thought it wasn't ready, but it is ready. It is ready. Dat is toch klaar. So that's one way to use toch, and it sometimes has a bit of a connotation of being negative. Like, dat is toch klaar? And you're like, hey, come on, you should have been ready by now. Dat is toch klaar? So that's how you can translate it. Toch has other uses, so feel free to click on the link in the video below, on the video about toch. Right, and the next one also has a video. It is maar. Ga maar, that is go, please. If you're using the imperative, go, please, you're going to add maar to make it sound a little nicer. And I'm saying here go, please, but it's really hard to translate this maar in this sentence. It kind of softens your sentences. And of course, it also means but. It has sometimes a bit of a connotation that you give permission. For example, you're watching a lot of people or kids, for example, and you're going to tell one kid, okay, just you can leave. I give you the permission to leave, and then you're going to use ga maar. So that can be the flavor added, depending on the context. Next one is gewoon. Dat is gewoon perfect. That is simply perfect, or that is just perfect. And gewoon is like simply or just. Gewoon as an adjective, for example, ik ben gewoon, of dat is een gewoon boek, that is a simple book, or that is a normal book. You would translate gewoon as normal, but here as a modal particle, like simply. Again, many of these translations I give, well, it's really hard to put them into English. So mind that when you're listening to my translations. The next one is nog, and also has a video in the description. Kan je dat nog doen? Can you do that? You could also translate it as can you still do it? For example, it's time, and you're asking, can you still do it even though it's time? But as a modal particle, it has a bit of a feel of still, but it's not as strong, and it doesn't convey the same meaning. It's sometimes just decorative. All right, but do consult the other video about nog, because it has many meanings. Wel, dat is wel goed. That can be, so it is good, like it is good. And what do I mean by it is good? Well will confirm the opposite of what people believe is true. For example, if you say it's not good, then I say, whoa, dat is wel goed. So you're going to say the opposite of what was just said, or what people believe is true. Wel can also mean surely. And yeah, that's the way to translate it as a modal particle. Surely. Ja, dat is wel goed. Yeah, that is, yeah, it is good. Something like that. And that's how we translate well as a modal particle. Also a video in the description. And then eens. How do you translate eens? Heb je dat eens gezien? Have you seen that? And eens can also mean once. Heb je dat eens gezien? Have you seen it just once? But as a modal particle, you could use it as well to soften the imperative. Go, for example, ga eens naar Amsterdam. Go to Amsterdam. All right, there's a video about eens, and there's also a video about even. Even, dat zal even moeilijk zijn. It will be difficult. It will be a little bit difficult. Dat zal even moeilijk zijn. Sometimes in dialect we say efkes. Dat zal even moeilijk zijn. So or effe is also used instead of even. Efkes, effe, of eventjes with the diminutive. So dat zal even moeilijk zijn. Literally even for a while. So depending on the context, it could also be it will be difficult for a while. Also used with the imperative. So ga even naar Amsterdam, go to Amsterdam, and it gives generally a positive feel to the sentence. It's a nice way to ask someone something. For example, kan je dat even doen? Can you do it? Please, something like that. So it's a positive modal particle. And actually, if you go to the video, you will find out that dat zal even moeilijk zijn. It can also mean that can be as difficult as what we told about before. But that's for the video. You have to check it. It's a really good one. Good, and then we're going to the last modal particle, which is hoor. Usually at the end of sentences, at the end of sentences, for example, ja hoor. And what does ja hoor mean? Well, that's to confirm something a little stronger. Ja hoor. So when someone asks you, ja hoor, that's to confirm it. It can also be used as a way to show that you're getting a little bit upset or a little bit angry. Like, ja hoor. So that depends on the context. It has nothing to do with hearing. So horen, that's to hear, but it doesn't have anything to do with that. So it's to confirm a little stronger. In Belgium, I'm not sure about the Netherlands, sometimes we say ja ze or ja zunne. Zunne is more dialect. Ja ze. Ze has nothing to do with they. No, it means just to confirm, just like hoor. Alright, so that was a rather long lesson about all these modal particles. Pay attention when you're using them that you're conveying the right sound, and if you hear them, then spot them and try to use them yourself. Now, if you want to have some more sample sentences, feel free to become a member to this channel. You can join via the button you see there on the main page of the channel, where you will also have exercises on other videos. So, see you there and tot ziens!